Welcome back to another Battlefront update. The massive June update that has got everyone excited about Battlefront 2 is just around the corner. And because of how little we truly know about it, then it feels like the possibilities of what we can get are almost endless. I've seen a lot of ideas get tossed around and what people think we'll be getting that do sound pretty realistic. As well at the same time some things that, well, let's just say would only maybe sound realistic in another dimension or something like that. Either way, we'll be running through everything that we could realistically get in the June update or announced in June in this video, along with at the end going over what would be the best and worst case scenario with the most evidence possible provided to support these ideas. As always, we'll be going over a lot of different topics, so stay tuned to get the best prepared for this massive June update. And before we get into any of that, but a quick reminder, as if you do like these type of videos, then do remember to give it a like to show your support for not only this update series, but also the content within it. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Starting out, we're going to be going over everything that people generally want and technically could see in the June update. Actually, the number one idea that I keep seeing a lot of, and I can agree on, is the addition of new weapons, as this is an area that the game is lacking in severely since day one. No matter who you are, I'm sure we can all agree that it's very disappointing to see that the last game, Battlefront 2015, had way more weapons available when that was released when compared to the current offering in Battlefront 2. And when you take that into consideration, then yeah, Battlefront 2 really needs new weapons added, or at the very least ported over from the last game. But even then, DICE don't even need to go that far, as believe it or not, Battlefront 2 actually has quite a bit of weapons in its game data that are currently going unused for whatever reason. And in case you're wondering about all these unused weapons, then yeah, they're fully rendered too. And based on this alone, I feel that DICE originally intended to have every weapon from the last game in Battlefront 2, but the design decisions during production prevented that from happening. And maybe they instead planned to release these as DLC later on, which we of course know they never did. Official Mango from our Discord server even extracted a few of these like the T-21B, and when you see it, then it really hits you hard on how much we're missing such great blasters in this fun game. Even though technically they're already in the game, just hidden away from us. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever know why this is the case unless a DICE dev comes out and tells us why. But seeing as all these weapons are there but only hidden, kind of like the Clone Legion skins were before, then maybe, just maybe, DICE could still release a few of them in June and then drip feed us the remainder of them for the rest of the year. Now let's not get things twisted, I obviously don't like the idea of content that's already in the game being drip fed to us. But that's just how DICE do things at the live service, and we've all come to accept that at this point, that it's not changing or going anywhere. They did just that of the Clone Legion skins, and while there were some people disgruntled about that at first, all of that eventually went away pretty quickly actually. But yeah, new weapons are a must for DICE to add at this point. Especially if this is something that DICE have been advertising since day one, because I'm sure a lot of you do remember all those adverts about new weapons constantly being added in the live service, which we never did get. And if not, then I'd love to find out what DICE's reason is for not enabling the hidden weapons already in the game, because that one right there, yeah, that better be a good reason. Next up are heroes, which right after weapons, this is the second most requested piece of content that I keep seeing. I already talked about this quite a bit in my other videos, so I won't go too much on it here. But Ahsoka Tano and Asajj Ventress are heavily implied to be the next heroes coming to Battlefront 2. Now, could we see them both being added in June together? Highly unlikely. As the last time DICE did anything like that was all the way back with Finn and Phasma in the 2017 The Last Jedi DLC. Best case scenario for this is I could either see Ahsoka or Ventress be announced in June through the roadmap, and each of them coming out separately later on, like in July or August. Now, I'm not writing off a June release for one of them, but at the same time, I'm not holding my breath, as this is DICE we're talking about here, so expectations need to be tame on that one. In relation to heroes, there's also a common question regarding skins, especially for certain fan favorites like Luke Skywalker and Darth Maul. Now, considering that we recently saw the release of Princess Leia's A New Hope appearance, I would assume that we could next see Luke and Han Solo's New Hope appearances as well. Especially considering that they have been done for quite some time now. I believe they were actually originally supposed to come out for the Death Star DLC for Battlefront 2015. So without a doubt, now would be a great time to finally release them. And why they never came out before but could now, well, that's all based on Disney's acquisition of 21st Century Fox in March of this year. You see, DICE previously were unable to do so as Fox owned the license and image rights for A New Hope back in 2015. However, that's all changed with Disney having bought out Fox and now owning the New Hope rights. So considering that, then there is a good chance we may finally get to see these skins released. And seeing Leia's skin be given out as a part of an event last month was already a sign that DICE now have the go-ahead to release them. And well, since people have been complaining about how Luke only has one optional skin this entire time, while someone with less screen time like Lando having so much skin options, and I think we may even see Luke's ceremony jacket appearance added as well, as that should definitely please all the Luke fans, at least for now until his Bespin fatigues and Endor appearances come out later down the road. Another area which I personally find really lacking is maps. And while this could be asking for a lot from DICE, I know, but could they perhaps add a new map, not in the June update per se, but rather soon and announced on the June roadmap? Because in that case, then yeah, maybe. DICE can argue that they'll be adding Naboo for capital supremacy and just see that as filling in their new map quota. And while that's great, it's not exactly what everyone wants to hear. As if Naboo will just end up being the same Galactic Assault map, but with a piece of it repurposed and changed up a bit for capital supremacy like all the others, then it won't have that new map feeling that we're all craving for. And while I'm all for more capital supremacy maps, I think we can all agree on here that we want to see and need to see some original maps made. Again, probably not going to see this in June, but it would be nice to see this announced on the June roadmap. Now, one great map for DICE to make that would go along with the Clone Wars theme and go pretty well with Ahsoka and Ventress would be none other than Coruscant. This is a map that's not only been heavily requested, but also was supposed to be a core map to come out in Free Radical's cancelled Battlefront 3. So it would be a nice touch for DICE to give us this, and it would certainly make up for all that time since last year where we haven't seen a new original map in this game. Although if the rumors about the Naboo Capital Supremacy map actually being a remake of the Naboo Plains from the OG Battlefront instead of Theed turns out to be true, then I'll be very happy with that too, as that would technically be a new original map. But we're just gonna have to wait and see on that one. As for reinforcements, that's another hot topic on everyone's mind for a potential addition in June, with Clone Commandos in our DC-17 and Blaster having already been data mined and were originally supposed to be the Republic's Infiltrator class. Before of course they were delayed and replaced with the ARC Troopers, then I do think that seeing them make an appearance now would be pretty ideal. As of whether they will be a completely new reinforcement class or just replace the Wookiees on most maps, then that's still up in the air. However, if the long-rumored Droidekas are also set to come out in June, then we'll for sure be seeing a completely new reinforcement class for these two. DICE has already openly admitted plenty of times that they're working on Droidekas behind the scenes since 2017, even going as far as actually showing them off by mistake in a promo image. But the problem is that this entire time they've been subject to severe technical issues in actually getting them to work properly in-game. And as a result, some people have even written them off completely from ever seeing them in Battlefront 2. But there is some good news, as a leak from the notorious DICE leaker some_info suggests that DICE have not abandoned them at all, but rather they're all still very busy behind the scenes and trying to figure out on how to get them to work. So with this piece of leaked information, could we maybe see Clone Commandos and Droidekas revealed for the June update? Well, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, especially since they did release both the ARC Troopers and the BX Commandos together in 1 month. So if anything, I don't see these two getting separate release dates like the heroes, but instead coming out together. And well, because we were supposed to get the Clone Commandos originally before the ARC Troopers, and I'd say those are done by now, and it's really the Droidekas at this point, which is why DICE have held off on new reinforcements until they finally get those just right. Another big requested feature that I really hope to see come in June is the addition of the large-scale offline mode. Dennis Brandville has been teasing us about this mode for what it feels like ages now. And considering that Jay Ingram did say that we should see new features to be released in the community transmission on Friday, then I think this one is an absolute must. Not to mention that DICE have recently in the last major update implemented a brand new AI for arcade mode. And along with that fixing up the Bespin Rebel skins, then it shows that DICE are starting to take offline a bit more seriously now, and all I can say on that is, about damn time. As for small things coming for June, then I think Xbox players should be pretty happy, as they should be seeing a fix included for the dreaded aim drifting issue that they're currently facing. Jay Ingram did tell us last time that DICE do have this as their top priority in fixing, so I would say that this is something that should very well be a part of the June update. In addition to this, there's also a need for a fix for the stun lock in lightsaber duels. Just like with aim drifting, this has also recently been asked if a fix for this was coming, and Ben Wok did reply and confirm that DICE are working on a fix, which again should hopefully be coming out in June. And finally, Guillaume Raz also revealed that health on kill cards will be getting changed too, as all heroes but Bosk will have their health on kill star card equal 20 health for troopers and 40 to 100 for heroes. He also adds that this is a first pass at the change while he's working on making this to be passive, which will mean that you won't have to equip a star card to get this effect. And while small, it is a pretty cool change to see, so that's awesome to hear. Now, while all of this may seem like it's asking for a lot, and truth be told, it is, especially for one update, we do still have to keep in mind that DICE have been hyping up June to be a massive game update which should please a lot of fans, according to them at least. Not to mention of them cooking up a community update video later in June too, then without a doubt we're getting something big and special. However, having said that, DICE have disappointed us in the past, so it goes without saying that we should also brace ourselves for the worst case scenario. And if I was to be very realistic and say at most on what we'll be getting in June, then I'd say it will most likely only be the new reinforcements, along with the Naboo Capital Supremacy map and the mentioned skins and small fixes like aim drifting and stun locking. Also, instead of a large-scale offline mode, we'll instead be getting the capital ship interior maps added to Arcade, which, while that isn't bad, it's not exactly what we're looking for. But again, this is what I think would be the worst case scenario on what we could be getting for June, as I really can't imagine DICE giving us any less than this, as it wouldn't make sense. And the only reason I think we're getting new reinforcements in June is because of DICE telling us that we're getting a community update video in June. That's our major hint right here for that, as the only times we ever got an update video was for a new hero or reinforcement release. So I can't imagine it being anything else but either of those two pieces of new content. And while I could also still see a hero like Ahsoka or Ventress be released in June, it just personally seems unlikely, as DICE usually give us at least a heads up, like a month in advance on those. Now, the absolute worst case would be if we don't get neither a new hero or reinforcements, but again, that would not make sense, as let's think about it. If not that, then what else would it be that we would be getting a community update video on then? The new skins, the Xbox aim drifting fix? Oh man, just imagine if DICE made an entire community update video on just hyping us up that they're fixing aim drifting on the Xbox. And as sad and hilarious as that would be, that's hopefully never gonna happen. If we do, let's say, get the new reinforcements in the clone commandos and the droidekas, then I most likely do expect to see new heroes like Ahsoka and Ventress be at least shown off in the new roadmap. As remember, we are getting a new roadmap in June too, and if I'm being honest here, that's likely where Ahsoka and Ventress will be revealed on. As don't forget, even though Grievous, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku were announced at EA Play last year, we didn't immediately get them. Instead, we got a roadmap showing what months they'll be coming out on. So if you ask me, this may happen with Ahsoka and Ventress. June will only be when they're going to be announced via the roadmap, but will be released later on. Perhaps maybe closer to the release of Clone Wars Season 7 like my original prediction, which, yeah, that would make the most sense if you think about it. And really, I would be fine with that. Of course, bearing in mind that we do get the new reinforcements in June and more offline support. Here's hoping that Friday does not disappoint. But that'll do it for this Battlefront update. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars related content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.